Eddie Furlong stars in today's movie. Guess he blew all that sweet Terminator 2 money. Welcome to Sick Flicks, where I take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to help you embrace your inner gore geek. I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, and today we're tackling John Flynn's techno-horror flick, Brainscan. Released in 1994, Brainscan tanked at the box office but later found a more appreciative audience on VHS and cable. The film's story about a video game with real-world consequences manages to feel both dated and timely by today's standards, which is pretty impressive when you think about it. Edward Furlong gets top billing, but it's T. Ryder Smith as the villainous Trickster who really steals the show. Everything about this one screams early 90s, but can Brainscan scare up enough splatter to earn the coveted 5 barf bag rating? Let's get to the gore and find out. Oh, and before we get started, today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, the online community where the creatively curious can explore their passions and learn new skills. Whether you're interested in learning about marketing, game design, filmmaking, or any other creative endeavor, Skillshare has thousands of courses that will allow you to explore your creativity, level up your abilities, or just satisfy your curiosity. I get a lot of questions from viewers about how they can start or grow their YouTube channel, and there's no shortage of advice out there. But if you really want to learn from someone who's had major success on the platform, you should check out Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. Marquez Brownlee is one of this platform's biggest stars, with over 13 million subscribers, so he obviously knows a thing or two about growing a channel. MKBHD walks you through the entire process step by step. From the obvious things like scripting, filming, and editing, to more nuanced topics like hooking your audience and growing your channel. If you want to learn the ins and outs of creating YouTube content, Marquez has you covered. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. Sound interesting? Well, I've got good news. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get bloody. We fade in on this card. Triumph. Look, I like Brainscan, but calling it a triumph might be overselling it. Edward Furlong. Oh yeah, we're clearly in good hands. At least Frank Langella is here. He makes everything better. I hope he's playing Skeletor again.
Kneel before your master!
And T. Ryder Smith is Trickster. Smith was a stage actor who got the part, and he's really pretty great in it. I imagine he took the role thinking he was going to be the next Robert Englund. But Brainscan hit in 1994, well after the end of the 80s slasher boom, and 2 years too early to cash in on the slasher renaissance inspired by Scream. I like to imagine that middle-aged Edward Furlong wakes up covered in the flop sweats every day at this point of his life. Music by George S. Clinton. Oh yeah, I love Parliament Funkadelic. What's that? It's not that George Clinton. It's some white dude with the same name? Aw, but I wanted the funk. I don't want to alarm anyone, but I feel like the credits basically have 4 different movies happening at this point. Let's pick a story movie. And screenplay by Andrew Kevin Walker. Walker was a bit of a big deal in the 1990s. He not only wrote Brainscan, but he also wrote Sleepy Hollow, 8mm, and a little film called Seven.
What's in the box?
And directed by John Flynn. Flynn did not enjoy working with Edward Furlong. Don't believe me? Check out this quote. Eddie Furlong was a 15-year-old kid who couldn't act. You had to slap him awake every morning. I don't want to get into knocking people, but I was not a big Eddie Furlong fan. So basically, the gist here is Furlong is having a nightmare back to when he was a child and in a car accident with his mother. And it looks like Mom didn't make it. I do appreciate that the movie is going to knock us out until something interesting happens, though. It's like a plot-induced coma. Then Furlong wakes up in the kind of cool room only teens in movies get. I mean, he's even got a computerized Igor as his butler. It's sort of hilarious to look back at Brainscan and see what we thought the future was going to look like. Brainscan had me convinced I was getting an Igor manservant, and instead all I got was Siri and all the assholes on social media. The incoming call is his best friend Kyle, who's 27 pretending to be 15. No, seriously, he was like 27 when they made this movie. Oh, and he's basically reading his lines right off this script.
Brainscan, the ultimate experience in interactive terror. Brainscan is not for the squeamish.
It's also funny that it has some of that video games are dangerous and will turn your kids into bloodthirsty murderers energy. I'm so glad we got past that. Oh, wait. I'll give the film credit for this. Furlong's got a sweet Twitch stream set up like 13 years before streaming was even a thing. But it turns out Eddie's less interested in playing Brainscan than he is in trying out this new VR stealth game, Creepy Peeper. Looks like this one is about to get rated M for mature. And just like that, Eddie Furlong started Girls Gone Wild. This is an ideal way to make sure no one likes your hero. Next, he's gonna get out the parabolic mic to listen to her breathing. But the swerve is she likes him to watch. This whole neighborhood needs to take a class on boundaries. Between Seth Green and Tix and Furlong here, I'm convinced that every teenage dude in 1994 basically had a Wilson Phillips bob haircut. Since he can't hook up with his dream girl, Eddie decides he might as well check out Brainscan.
Hello, you've reached Brainscan.
You kids even remember when you had to call in to order things instead of just getting them on Amazon? Christ, I'm old. And it turns out operators really are standing by.
My name is Michael Breyer. You can reach me at 717...
Hello, Michael.
And we see firsthand why you don't talk shit to customer service reps.
Look, R2-D2, how do you really expect me to believe
Brainscan apparently doesn't need his consent or his credit card number because Death by Design is already on the way. He tries to call back, but he just gets a busy signal. I bet half of you don't even remember those either. The next day, Horror Movie Club is interrupted by Budget Mr. Feeney. He's shutting shit down. And what is that, a TV remote or a Star Trek phaser? And he's clearly not a horror fan.
Death, death, death.
Part 2.
Oh, Lord.
Well, to be fair, it was alternately titled as La Casa 14 in some markets.
I guess it's kind of an escape.
Like lighting up a marijuana cigarette and escaping the real world,
God, he hates horror movies and Satan salad. This dude is no fun at all. Seems fitting Clinton's lurking in the background. I did not inhale. With Horror Club canceled, Furlong heads home. But first, he stops to pick up some flashbacks. Eddie sure is stiff in this movie.
Hell yeah.
No, not like that, you pervs. Eddie is just really wooden.
Hell yeah.
I'm not talking about wood, I mean he sucks.
Hell yeah.
That's it, I quit. I'm out of here. Back at home, Furlong's checking the mail. Bill, jackpot. Nowadays, he'd just download this during a Steam sale. Rather than head to the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 pool party next door, Furlong decides to stay in and play a little Brainscan. This might seem normal to you kids today, but back in the 90s, giving a party to play video games basically made you king dork. Trust me, I know from first-hand experience. Great, it's one of those full-motion video games. I bet one of the two Gorys is in this. There's probably a crappy Sega CD port. But we get some exposition at least.
Take this seriously, Michael. You'll be watching a brutal murder through the eyes of a killer and you'll affect his actions.
Somewhere you can hear Tipper Gore and Joe Lieberman screaming. And here are more rules.
You must think like a killer. Cover up any clues. Leave no witnesses, no evidence. And most importantly, enjoy the fear.
This is one of those long, boring tutorials. Just let me play. So basically, Brainscan never took off because it gave most of its players seizures. Wow, guess Chewie hit the hyperdrive on the Falcon. Those graphics are so lifelike.
The gate. The gate.
Hey, no backseat gaming. Let me figure it out myself. This is the coolest version of Rockstar's Manhunt ever. After James Earl cashing his way through the house, he finds the target NPC. Then he gets to stabbing. And you thought GTA was a murder simulator. I will say the cat seems underwhelmed. Then he takes foot as a souvenir. This poor dude is gonna come up a foot short. After that, he gets the loading screen. Hope the game doesn't crash.
Oh, man.
Furlong is clearly impressed with the game mechanics. The next day, Kyle wants to experience Brainscan too, but Eddie's bogarting it like it's the last bone in his stash.
I love it, man.
You got it on you?
Patience, Kyle.
No, man. If it's as good as you say.
No, I know. I just want to play it a couple more times, and then I promise you'll get it.
The 90s truly were a wild time. We layered like no others. He's got a shirt, a t-shirt, and a vest on. I mean, this is basically the Pauly Shore starter kit. Ed heads home to play another round, but this must have been one of those timed rentals because it's not working. Then we jump over to the most 90s living room ever. Great, the Avon people are here again. Sorry, son, we're all stocked up on lip gloss and glimmer sticks. They eventually invite him in for some exposition.
There was a grisly murder in the quiet suburban town of Mountview today. William Tebbs was discovered in the bedroom of his home.
Ruh-roh. Furlong's like, sorry, gotta run. I knew eating that chalupa was a bad idea. With the line between fantasy and reality blurring, Furlong does what all master criminals do. He returns to the scene of the crime. Smooth move, X-Lax. And now Frank Langella is on to him. And house establishing shot. Back inside, Ed's feeling a little hungry. He was gonna eat some finger food, but I guess they're all out, so this foot will have to do instead. Man, it's already got freezer burn.
That's impossible!
I think director John Flynn might have been right about Furlong's acting chops. And Eddie might be losing it, because he's interrogating his TV.
You were there, Michael. You know exactly what you did.
Oh man, this movie just suddenly turned into a less cool version of Videodrome.
Long left the new flesh.
But we do finally get to meet Trickster, who looks sort of like what you'd get if Keith Richards and Max Headroom had a baby who joined Bauhaus.
My name is Trickster.
Clearly, he's not a fan of Eddie's musical library. Nickelback? Coldplay?
Just doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't have to make sense.
Your performance? I agree.
I didn't kill the man. I didn't even know him.
God damn, Furlong really is terrible. I've seen cars running on empty with more range than this dude. The point of all this bad acting and jibber jabber is that Trickster has news.
You must eliminate the witness.
And it turns out Trickster and I feel the same way about country music.
No country western music, please.
Ed's next order of business is to dig a shallow grave. I've heard of planting your feet, but this seems ridiculous. But before he can finish, this pup takes off with the appendage. I guess you could call this a real foot race. Now the dog's just toying with him. If you give me the foot, I promise to toe the line from here on out. After all that drama, Kyle shows up at the house. He's somehow taken his layering game to the next level. T-shirt, flannel, leather jacket, flannel wrapped around the waist. Impressive. I mean, it's like the rings of a tree. One extra layer of shirt for every year over 15. And then they have this spat.
If you're gonna be laid up, and I'll have it letting me borrow the Brainscan disc.
Bye, Kyle.
I think they're breaking up. Don't worry though, he's already got his rebound lined up.
I just wanted to find out about some homework.
Or maybe not.
You should probably get going.
What a ladies' man. I feel his struggle. I mean, I've totally missed the clue a chick was into me and ditched her to play video games. Before she heads out, she's like, I'll be changing my clothes by the window at 7, you know, just in case. Later that evening, Trickster shows up. Hey, why don't you take this for a spin? Then he asks the important question.
The real question is, are you a winner or a loser?
This is Edward Furlong. We all know the answer to this. Then he takes us behind the scenes.
My name's Michael Brower. I'm 16 and I'm scared to death. But if I'm a killer, consider this my confession.
How meta. We skipped the killer gameplay this time, but let's go to the videotape. It's always nice when the movie just decides to take a break and watch its own dailies. And to make matters worse, he finds Kyle's bloody necklace chilling in the freezer. Eddie, you killed Kyle? You bastard! With Kyle dead, Eddie just shot up the suspect list. And Frank Langella means business. I know, because he's in slow-mo. I guess he must have picked up the pace because now he's at the front door. So I hope you're as excited as I am to see Edward Furlong get totally outclassed by another supporting actor in a movie he's the star of.
Your voice sounds very familiar to me. Are you sure you didn't call Kyle's house after the murder?
No, that wasn't me.
I mean, Langella is actually asleep in this scene, and he's still better than Furlong. Upstairs, Trickster's got the next disc. Turns out our criminal mastermind has left another clue behind.
Footprints in the mud. But where? That is the question.
I'll give Brainscan this. It's better than the Marky Mark and the Funky Bunches Make My Video on Sega CD. But it's still not as good as Dracula Unleashed, though. Guys, I think we loaded the wrong game. I mean, I don't think this is what they meant by escort mission. If you guessed this was all a dream and she was going to morph into the dead guy, give yourself a screenwriter's credit. And judging by this choking, Edward is into some wild stuff. I'm not here to shame, though. Football practice! That evening, Langella's organizing Neighborhood Watch. I hope they find Michael Myers.
One last thing.
Evil dies tonight!
Eddie logs back into Brainscan. This is clearly not Final Fantasy XIV because there's no server queue. Oh, looks like this version of the game is the stealth mission. I hate stealth missions. Hide in the box, Solid Snake. Then he's like, oh god, this dude is gonna whiz on me. He's Sam Fishering his way back home, but he sneaks right into this jump scare. Oh look, Budget Mr. Feeney is still in this movie. But in the ensuing struggle, they knock over this scaffold. Oh yeah, that shit came down on him like a ton of bricks. I bet his favorite song was Brick House. Oh damn, Solid Snake did actually find a box. Eddie finally makes it home, and Trickster is waiting on him.
I killed somebody. Again, I killed somebody.
You were magnificent.
The good news is he completed the objective. The bad news is there's another witness.
There was a witness. And you know who she is.
Well, who could have seen that coming? I mean, besides everyone. Christ, Stevie Wonder saw that coming back in the first act. Meanwhile, Frank Langella is closing in on Furlong. And Trickster continues to belabor the obvious.
You know who the witness is, don't you?
Yes, dude, we're not morons. She's literally the only girl in this movie with more than 2 lines. Then he stops to deliver some tough love.
I love her.
It could be any girl in any window and you know it.
I won't kill her!
Been a while since we had a house establishing shot. Guess we were due. That night, Eddie heads back into the game. I gotta be honest, I had higher hopes for the whole metaverse thing. He breaks in and grabs these scissors, and I, for one, am glad we're just gonna cut to the chase here. It's really something that Eddie didn't wind up in the pantheon of great slashers here. He's like an even wimpier Norman Bates. And now it's the moment of truth. Can Eddie kill his dream girl? But first, there's time for one more revelation.
Who the hell are you?
I can't believe you still don't know. I'm you.
I'm calling bullshit. There's no way Furlong was ever as cool as Trickster. I mean, come on. Then he stabs him. A2 Edward Furlong? But come on, you can't kill Trickster, and he's got the PS1 era graphics to prove it. Wow, check out these visual effects. And now he's doing his best Ash in Army of Darkness impression. I think Eddie's about to get the blue screen of death. His game is definitely crashing. Oh wait, he's just got a virus. Not gonna lie, Furlong 2.0 is as much of a wuss as the first version was. Talk about a beta release. I like that this movie then uses the climax to make Furlong's creepy peeping into a romantic plot point.
You watch me from your window. I know you do. I've known for a long time. I watch you too. I love you, Michael.
The power of love saves him in the end. Aww. Then Trickster shows up and we're treated to some Furlong acting.
Game over. You lose.
Least intimidating badass ever.
Are you sure about that?
See, they call me Panic because I never do.
But wait, what do we have behind door number 3? If you guess Frank Langella, you win. Are you two having underage sex in here? And the answer is technically no, since Amy Hargreaves was 23 when this film was made. Frank doesn't care though, he's taken Edward down. With extreme prejudice. But here comes the swerve. Eddie's still playing the game. And a surprise to absolutely no one, the entire movie was a dream after he put that first disc in. Do you feel cheated? Well, you should. It's sort of like a more murdery version of A Christmas Carol. He's even gonna buy Bob Cratchit a Christmas goose. And here's Tiny Tim, aka Kyle, still alive. And still layering like a pro. Then, freed from the chains of video games, Furlong is finally able to chase the girl of his dreams.
Please, will you go out with me?
And he gets shot down.
I don't think so.
But she's not shooting him down completely.
I mean, I'll think about it.
Furlong's all like,
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Maybe, right? Not no.
What a loser. Well, since she said maybe, I guess I might as well steal some of her intimate apparel. The kicker is all these photos she's taken of him are just exhibits for when she files for the restraining order to stop him from peeping on her. Oh hey, we've got time for one more swerve, right? Remember Budget Mr. Feeney? Well, he's about to get to check out Brainscan for Horror Club.
Well, I have a game I want to show to the horror club.
Oh, Furlong, you so crazy. And here's Trickster. And that's Brainscan. I can see why the film tanked theatrically back in 1994. The all-a-dream/game ending feels like a cheat, and the film spends way too much time with Edward Furlong and not enough with Trickster. But as a time capsule to 90s tech, it's still pretty fun, and sort of eerily prophetic in some ways. But enough about that. Can Brainscan download 5 barf bags worth of splatter? Let's go to the gore card. In terms of gross anatomy, Brainscan underdelivers. We get a lopped off foot, multiple stab wounds, Trickster's popped eyeballs, and that's about it. This one's very tame on the gore front, and because of that, I can only give it a measly 1 barf bag rating. This is definitely not a sick flick. However, it is a prime piece of 90s video store horror, and Trickster deserved a better fate. Looking for another 90s horror film that was a video store staple? Then be sure to check out my review of Ticks. You'll find a link here on the screen. I'll meet you over there. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka The Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.